Tom Reeves stood at the edge of the landing ramp, watching the broken remains of the alien research facility ahead. Smoke rose in the distance, and parts of the structure still sparked from the recent attack. His boots sank slightly into the ash-covered ground. The mission was clear: search for survivors and recover any useful data before the place collapsed for good. Behind him, 3 soldiers checked their gear. His old friend Bryn gave a short nod. No signs of life on the scans. "You sure this is worth it?" Tom didn't answer right away. He looked at the sky clouds hung heavy, orange and gray. This planet had no name. It wasn't supposed to have any people here, either. But 2 days ago, a faint distress signal was picked up, coming from this facility, deep in neutral space. "Orders are orders," Tom finally said. "We're going in." They moved carefully, stepping over broken beams and shattered glass. The inside of the building was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that made your skin itch. The team split into pairs. Tom moved deeper into the west wing, where alien symbols glowed dimly on the walls. Most of the facility had been destroyed, but one part still had power: the biolab. Tom entered a half-collapsed room. The corner, he saw something strange: a small, flickering light blinking slowly on a cracked console. As he stepped closer, he heard a soft sound, a rustle, a breath. Then he saw her, a little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, crouched in the shadows. She had thin arms, glowing eyes, and pale blue skin that shimmered faintly. Her clothes were torn. A small necklace hung around her neck, glowing softly. She didn't move. She just looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. Tom froze. He hadn't expected this. He slowly knelt down and held up his hands. "Hey, ... It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you." The girl didn't speak. She clutched the necklace tightly. Her small body shaking, Tom reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of wrapped ration bread. "Hungry?" he asked, gently placing it on the ground and stepping back. After a moment, the girl crawled forward, took the food, and quickly ate it. Tom clicked his cum. "I found someone, a child, alive. She's not human, but she's not fully alien either. I'm bringing her in." Bren's voice came through. "Say again?" "A child." "What kind of child?" Tom looked at her again. Something in her eyes felt familiar, though he couldn't explain why. "Just get the med team ready." Back on Argonine, the human outpost station, the girl was placed in the medical bay. The doctors ran scans, trying to understand what she was. Her DNA confused the machines. She had alien genes, no doubt. But hidden inside was something else. Human markers. Tom watched through the glass. The girl sat silently on the bed, swinging her feet. She held onto her necklace like it was the only thing left in the world. "Where did she come from?" asked Dr. Merrill, looking at the scan. "No idea," Tom replied. The place was wrecked. No records. No signs of anyone else alive. Just her. "There's something strange here," the doctor said. "She's not a normal hybrid. Her DNA is too perfect. Almost designed." Tom's brow furrowed. "What does that mean?" Before she could answer, the girl noticed Tom through the window. She slid off the bed, ran to the glass, pressed her small hand against it. Then she whispered something. Tom couldn't hear her, but he could see her lips move. "Papa." He blinked. "What?" The doctor frowned. "Did she just call you?" "That's not possible," Tom said quickly, stepping back. "She's just confused." But his hands were shaking. Later that night, Tom sat in his quarters, unable to sleep. He looked through old mission logs, especially one from 6 years ago. He was sent to a neutral planet to help with peace research. That was the first and last time he met Rena, a gifted alien scientist working on biological harmony between species. They worked together for 3 months, solving food shortages and improving health tech. She was calm, brilliant, and kind. They grew close. Then one day she vanished. The lab was shut down. The mission ended without answers. Now here he was, 6 years later, staring at the necklace the girl had been holding. A cracked metal disc with a faded symbol etched into it, the same symbol Rena once wore on her bracelet. A sharp knock came. At his door, it was Dr. Merrill again. She looked pale. "You need to see this," she said. "We finished the DNA match." Tom followed her down the hall. The results were displayed on a glowing screen. He stared at the chart in silence. Human. Alien. 50-50. And next to the name, Tom Reeve, to 99.9% paternal match. He stepped back, eyes wide. "No, that ... that can't be right." "It is," the doctor said quietly. "She's your daughter, Tom." He felt like the air had been punched out of his chest. How? Why? Rena never told him. He never knew. And now, the little girl, the one he thought was just another rescue. It turned out to be his own flesh and blood. The girl slept peacefully now in the med bay. Tom stood by the glass again, watching her breathe. The station lights reflected off the necklace in her small hands. This wasn't just another mission. It had become something else, entirely something personal. The next morning, the space station. Arginine was quiet, but tension filled the air around the medical wing. Tom stood in the observation room, staring at the little girl behind the glass. She was awake now, sitting cross-legged on the bed, still holding the glowing necklace. Her large eyes followed the soft movements of the lights above her. But she looked almost too calm for a child who had survived a ruined lab. The medical team had done their work. Scans, blood tests, neural checks. Everything showed one thing. She was not fully alien. She was half human. And not just that, she was Tom's daughter. Tom hadn't slept. The DNA results still echoed in his mind. The numbers were clear. The girl was his. The daughter of an alien scientist he had met only once. 6 years ago now. She was here, alive, real, and no one knew what to do next. "Has she said anything?" Tom asked the doctor beside him. Dr. Merrill shook her head, not in any known language. "She whispers to herself sometimes, or hums. Right. But no full speech." "She spoke one word to me," Tom said quietly. "She called me Papa." The doctor nodded. "That might be instinct. She seems to recognize you emotionally even if she doesn't understand fully." Tom didn't reply, kept watching her. Something inside his chest was twisting, guilt, confusion, fear, and something else. ... Something warm. Later, Tom entered the room slowly. The little girl turned and looked at him. Her eyes lit up slightly. She didn't run to him, but she didn't move away either. Tom knelt beside the bed. "Hi there," he said softly. "Do you remember me?" The girl tilted her head. He pointed at himself. "Tom?" She blinked. Then she placed her tiny hand on his chest and said again, softly, "Papa." Tom felt a lump in his throat, gave a small smile. "Yeah, maybe." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small chip, metallic, cracked, and half-burned. Tom took it carefully and looked closer. It was a data chip, the kind used in old alien systems. Maybe it held answers. Maybe it was from Rena. A few hours later in the tech lab, Tom and Bren examined the chip. "I don't get it," Bren muttered. "You're telling me this kid is yours, and from an alien?" Tom didn't look up. "Yes, well," Bren sighed, scratching his head. "That explains the weird skin and the glowing eyes, I guess." Tom connected the chip to an old interface. Static filled the screen, followed by blurry images. Then there she was. Rena, her face appeared in the video, smiling but tired. Her voice came through clearly. "If you're watching this, then I've failed to keep her hidden. I'm sorry, Tom. I wanted to tell you, but it was too dangerous. They wouldn't understand what she is." Tom leaned forward, breath caught. In his throat, "Her name is Mira. She's ours. Born of 2 worlds. She carries what both our species need. A chance at peace, ... at survival. But there are those who fear her. They came for me, and I knew they'd come for her next." The message glitched. Static. Then more. "Tom, if you find her, protect her. She's more than just a child. She's hope." The screen went black. Tom sat in silence. Bryn whistled. Well, ... That explains a lot. Over the next 2 days, Tom spent time with Mira. She began to speak a little. Not full sentences, but soft words in a mix of human and alien language. She smiled more now, especially when he was near. She seemed happiest when sitting next to him, drawing shapes on a screen or watching stars out the window. But outside their quiet corner, the station wasn't calm. Whispers had started. People had seen the scans. Some were curious. Others were afraid. A hybrid child, half human, half alien, was not something the galaxy saw every day. Commander Hall, head of Arginine, called Tom in. You went to recover data, Hall said, his tone firm. Not adopt a child. Tom sat straight. She's not just a child. She's a survivor, and she's mine. That makes it worse, Hall replied. You understand the political mess this creates? We don't even have proper laws for this kind of thing. I don't care about politics, Tom said coldly. She's my daughter. Hall sighed. Look, Reeve, I'm trying to help you. But word's getting out. There are groups that won't want her to exist. Then they'll have to go through me. Just keep her safe, quiet. We're sending a request to Central Command for advice. Till then, keep your head down. Tom nodded and walked out, fists clenched. That night, as Tom and Myra sat by the observation window, she suddenly pointed at the stars. Home, she whispered. Tom followed her finger. There, she nodded, and she tapped his chest again. Papa home? Tom smiled. That's right. Wherever we are, we stay together. But in the shadows of the station, someone else was watching them. A silent message was sent off. Dash station target located. Child is alive. Operation begins. Tom walked slowly through the quiet halls of Arginine. Lights flickered above, and the hum of the station's engines filled the silence. Everything seemed normal, but inside, his thoughts were far from calm. In just a few days, his life had changed. Completely. He had gone from being a soldier on a rescue mission to the father of a Hephalian child, Myra. She was quiet, strange, and full of questions. But she also smiled when he smiled. She reached for his hand when she was scared. She trusted him, and Tom had no idea how to protect her. He stopped at the viewing deck and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Rena, the alien scientist he had once worked with, had given birth to his child. He had always remembered her calm voice, the way she solved problems, the way she looked at him like he wasn't just a soldier, but a person. Now he wondered what happened to her. Why hadn't she told him? Why had she kept Myra hidden all these years? Footsteps echoed behind him. It was Bren, his old friend, carrying a datapad. I've been digging through old records like you asked, Bren said. Found something weird. Tom turned. Weird how? Bren handed over the pad. Remember that peace mission you did 6 years ago? The one on that neutral planet? There's no trace of it in the system? The files are gone. Tom frowned. Gone. Deleted. Like the mission never happened. Tom's eyes narrowed. That's impossible. I was there for 3 months. I worked with alien scientists. There were reports, photos, everything. Any more? Bren said. Somebody wiped the records clean. Tom looked down at the pad. Only a few fragments remained. One blurry photo of Rena standing beside an alien plant, and one line of a report that read, Biological harmonization results promising. Project status, terminated by order of Central Command. Terminated, Tom whispered. But I shut her down, lowered his voice. What if someone didn't want the project to succeed? What if Mira wasn't just a child to them, but a mistake they wanted to erase? Tom's jaw tightened. That would explain the attack on the facility. They weren't trying to destroy the lab. They were trying to destroy her. Back in the med wing, Mira sat cross-legged on the bed, drawing symbols on a screen. She had become more open in the last few days. She now used small words. Light, food, Papa. She still didn't say much, but she always looked at Tom like she knew him. Tom walked in with a soft smile. Hey, Myra. She looked up, smiled, and reached out her hand. Tom sat beside her and showed her a picture of Rena. Do you know her? Mira's eyes widened. Mama, she whispered. Tom nodded. She helped me once, long ago. She was kind. Myra touched the screen gently. Gone. Yes, Tom said softly. She's gone. But Myra looked at him and shook her head. Slowly. Then she tapped her necklace. Message. Tom stared at the glowing stone. You think there's another message? Mira nodded. He stood up quickly. We need to check it. In the tech lab, they connected the necklace to a scanner. After a few moments, another file appeared, a hidden video locked inside the stone. It was short but clear. Rena's voice played once more. Double quotes, Tom. Dot. If Mira is with you, then she's already stronger than I ever hoped. There's something you need to know. The virus I was studying it was spreading faster than we thought. I used your DNA to build a cure. Myra, is that cure? Tom's heart pounded. She was never just a child. She was designed to survive what others could not. Her mind, her body, they are the future. But that future is in danger. The ones who attacked me, ... They're watching. They will come for her. The screen went dark. Bren stared in shock. She's a cure? Like, for a disease? Tom nodded slowly. It's not just a cure. A bridge between humans and aliens. Proof that peace is possible. And that's why they want her gone, Bren said. Because if people knew, they'd ask questions. They'd start working together. The ones in power can't have that. Tom turned to Mira. She looked up at him with quiet trust. We have to get her out of here, he said. That night, Tom packed supplies quietly. Food, water, clothes, a small medkit. Bren worked on a private ship-handled cargo runner that had no tracking. The plan was simple. They would leave before morning, head to the last planet Rena had sent data from. Maybe there, they'd find more answers. But things were never that easy. At 0200 hours, the lights in the station flickered. An alarm sounded. Security breach detected. All units report to lower deck. Tom's eyes went wide, grabbed Mira, who was already awake. We're going now, he said firmly. Bren met him at the hangar. They're here, he said. Some kind of private team. Not part of the station. Heavily armed. Tom held Mira close. They're here for her. You have 5 minutes before they lock the doors, Bren warned. They ran through the metal halls, heart pounding. Behind them, footsteps echoed to many, the intruders. We're already inside, one guard shouted. Stop them. Tom didn't stop. He turned and fired a stun blast to slow them down, then dashed onto the ship. Bren hit the launch button. The engines roared. As the ship pulled away from Arginine, Mira looked out the window, silent. Tom sat beside her, breath heavy. We're safe, he whispered. For now? Mira turned to him. Home? Not yet, Tom said. But we'll find it. Outside the window, stars streaked past as the ship entered warped behind them. On Arginine, a cold voice sent out. A signal. Target escaped. Begin pursuit. The cargo ship flew through deep space, leaving Arginine far behind. The stars stretched like long threads as they passed into warp speed. Inside the small ship, Tom sat beside Mira, checking her blanket and making sure she was warm. She had fallen asleep during the flight, her tiny head resting on his arm. Despite everything, the escape, the danger, the unknown, she looked peaceful. Bren sat in the pilot's seat, focused on the glowing control panel. We're still clear, he said. No signs of anyone following us yet. Tom nodded, but he didn't feel safe. He knew whoever came for Myra at the station wouldn't give up so easily. She was too important. To some, she was a cure. To others, a threat. And she was his daughter. She keeps saying the word home, Tom said softly. But I don't know what she means. She pointed at the stars. Bren turned. You think she remembers where Rena took her before the lab? I don't know, Tom replied. But Rena's last message came from a rogue planet called Telri 7. I think that's where Mira was born. Bren nodded. We'll head there. It's not on the main charts. Covered in clouds. No cities. Just research outposts and forests. Good, Tom said. Maybe we'll find answers. Hours passed. The ship dropped out of warp near a quiet, gray planet. Telru 7 floated below them like a sleeping giant, covered in thick clouds and wide green forests. There were no signs of cities, just dark valleys and tall cliffs. Tom stared at the surface. Looks peaceful. Bren frowned. We're empty. I'll take us down slow. The ship descended into the mist. The clouds wrapped around them like smoke. Lights flickered as they passed through storms. But after 10 minutes, the clouds broke and a small clearing came into view. There, Tom pointed. Land near that ridge. Bren brought the ship down smoothly. Trees bent in the wind. The engines hissed and cooled. Tom carried Myra down the ramp. She opened her eyes and looked around quietly. She didn't speak, but something in her expression changed. She looked like she remembered this place. Do you know where we are? Tom asked her. She nodded slowly. Mama, ... here. The group moved through the forest. Birds flew overhead.
Ow.
Strange animals made soft sounds in the distance. After about half an hour, they reached the edge of a rocky hill. Myra stopped walking and looked to the left. There, she said, pointing at a thick patch of vines. Tom pushed the plants aside. Behind them was a metal door, rusted and half covered in dirt. A symbol was printed on it, the same one from Mira's necklace. This is it, Tom said. Rena's lab. He pressed the door panel. After a few sparks, it opened with a soft hiss. Inside was dark, but the walls still had power. Lights flickered on slowly, revealing a hidden research station deep underground. Dust covered the consoles. Broken screens blinked with old data. They stepped inside carefully. Mira walked ahead, moving like she remembered every step. This way, she whispered. They reached a main room where a large table stood with empty sample tubes and dried plants. At the back was a computer still glowing faintly. Bren whistled. She left this whole place behind. Tom stepped toward the computer. He touched the screen and a message appeared. Voice match required. Rena Tellin. Tom paused, then said, Tom Reeve. The screen buzzed. Match found. Message unlocked. A hologram appeared. Rena stood before them again, older this time, tired, but still calm. If you've found this place, then you've found the truth. Mira is more than a child. She carries what we created. Together hope for two worlds, but others wanted control. They feared what she could become. They feared peace. She looked down for a moment. I knew they would come. I left this place to keep her safe. But now, I can only ask one thing. Protect her. She's the future. And she's your daughter. The hologram faded. Tom stood in silence. Then he looked at Myra. She was watching him, eyes shining with quiet strength. We'll protect you, he said, no matter what. Suddenly, a loud beep came from Bren's wristpad. He looked down. We've got company. A ship just entered orbit. Tom's body tensed. Can they track us here? If they followed our trail through the warp path, maybe. They're scanning now. Then we need to move. Bren looked around. There's a tunnel behind this lab. It leads deeper into the mountain. Might be a safe exit. Tom turned. Tamira, can you walk? She nodded. He took her hand and they headed into the tunnel. Behind them, the door of the lab sealed shut. Outside, a black ship landed in the clearing. A team of armed soldiers stepped out, dressed in gray armor with no flags or names. Their leader, a tall man with a pale face, scanned the ground. Tracks, he said. They were here. Another soldier raised a scanner. Life signs detected underground. Follow them, the leader ordered. Inside the mountain, the tunnel opened into a wide cave filled with glowing crystals. The light reflected off the walls, casting soft blue shadows. Mira stared at the crystals like she had seen them before. Tom slowed down. Are you okay? She nodded, then placed her hand on one of the stones. Suddenly, the crystal glowed brighter. A soft hum filled the air. Then something strange happened. Tom felt calm. His fear faded. His heartbeat slowed. Even Bren stopped and stared. "What is this?" Bren whispered. Mira looked up at them. Safe. Tom realized the cave wasn't just a hiding place. It was a shield, a natural energy field that confused scanners. "Rena must have built her lab here for that reason. We'll rest here for a moment." "Tom," said Myra, sat between two crystals and smiled faintly. "Papa stay." "Yes," he said. "Always." But deep in his mind, Tom knew this peace wouldn't last long. Above them, the hunters were getting closer, and soon they would have to make a stand. The glowing cave inside the mountain gave them a few quiet hours. Tom sat close to Mira, his eyes watching the tunnel they had come from. Bren stood nearby, checking his blaster and motion sensor again and again. Still nothing, only the soft hum of the crystals and the quiet breathing of Myra, who was gently drawing shapes into the dust with her fingers. She looked calm again, her glowing eyes reflecting the crystal light. Tom leaned back and whispered, "She's strong." Bren nodded. "Stronger than us, I think." Tom looked at him. "You believe what Rena said? Amira's some kind of cure? Some bridge between our species?" "I do," Bren said. "We've been fighting the aliens for years, but never once thought about working with them. Rena did, and she made Mira possible." Tom sighed. "She trusted me, and I didn't even know she was carrying my child." "You couldn't have known," Bren replied. "She was scared. She did what she had to." Tom looked down at Mira again. "Now it's my turn." Later, as they rested, Mira stood and walked to the back of the cave. She placed her hand on the wall in a crystal larger than the others. It lit up under her touch, and suddenly a hidden door slid open. Tom and Bren jumped up. "Mira," Tom called, running to her side. But the girl simply smiled and pointed inside. "It's okay," she said. "Mama showed me." Inside the hidden chamber was a small room filled with old equipment, files, and another screen. On a table sat something wrapped in cloth. Tom slowly stepped forward and opened it. Inside was a small book, handwritten, full of notes. Alien symbols mixed with human letters. Rena's writing. Bryn picked up a paper and read, "Phase 4 stabilization. Successful. Myra's growth shows signs of hybrid evolution. Mental abilities forming earlier than expected." Tom turned the pages. There were drawings of Myra smiling, playing, learning. He stopped at one page. It had a picture of a necklace, the same one Mira wore, and a message written in human language. "This necklace holds the second key. The first is inside the mountain. If they find her, she must be taken to the Sky Vault." "The Sky Vault," Bren repeated. "What's that?" Tom looked at the map drawn beside the note. "It's a station, an old research facility in orbit, long abandoned. She wants us to go there?" "Yes," Tom said. "So there must be something important there, something we need to finish what Rena started." It turned to Mira. "Ken, you take us there?" Mira nodded. "I remember. Mama showed me the stars." Back outside, storm clouds moved above the forest. The enemy ship had landed not far from the lab, and the group of soldiers had started moving through the forest with silent speed. Their leader, the pale man in gray armor, scanned the ground. "Signs lead this way," he said. "They're in the mountain." The soldiers followed him carefully, weapons ready. They didn't know it yet. But Mira had already activated a defense system in the mountain through the crystals. And the mountain had its own secrets. Tom, Bren, Mira left the hidden chamber and moved toward the upper tunnel, ready to exit. As they reached the opening, the mountain shook. A loud noise echoed. "Explosions," Bren said, checking his scanner. "They're trying to blast their way in." Tom held Mira's hand tightly. "Then we leave now." They moved fast through the narrow tunnels. Behind them, the echo of machines and boots grew louder. At the exit, their ship waited, still hidden behind trees and covered by camouflage netting. Tom opened the ramp quickly and helped Mira climb in. "Bren, power it up. I'm on it," rumbling to life. The ship shook with pressure as the storm built around them. Tom looked at the radar. The enemy ship was close. "Too close. They're blocking the air," Bren said. We need to move now. Tom jumped into the seat and took control. Hang on. The ship lifted, trees bending under the force. As they rose into the sky, energy blasts fired from the forest. One hit the rear wing, but the shield held. Mira grabbed the chair and pointed at the clouds. Go up, she said, to the stars. Tom smiled. Exactly what I was thinking. The ship broke through the atmosphere, flames trailing behind. In space, they turned toward the old station above Telru 7, the Sky Vault. It looked like a giant metal flower, floating quietly among the stars. Its outer rings were broken. Lights were dark. But as they got closer, something changed. Mira touched her necklace. The center of the station lit up. She activated it, Bren said. Just like the lab. Tom brought the ship close and locked onto the docking ring. They landed softly. Let's find out what Rena left here, said inside the Sky Vault. The halls were dusty and dark, but still holding power. Lights turned on as Mira walked through, leading the way. In the main control room they found a large table with a round projector. Mira placed her necklace inside a small socket. It glowed. A map appeared in the Aristar chart showing human and alien worlds. At the center, a line connected to planets. Bren read the notes. This is a cure path. Rena mapped how Mira's DNA can help both species survive a virus. Tom stared at the screen. It's more than that. It's proof that humans and aliens can live together. Mira is living proof. Mira looked up at them. Mama wanted peace. Tom knelt beside her. So do I. But at that moment, the warning system beeped. Bren looked at the screen. Incoming ship. It's them. They followed us. Tom stood, ready. Then we protect Myra, no matter what. Red lights flashed inside the Sky Vault. Alarms buzzed. A message appeared on the main screen. Unknown ship approaching. Docking. Override in progress. Tom stood at the center of the control room, his eyes fixed on the screen. They've found us. Bren tapped the console quickly. They're forcing a dock. 5 minutes until they break in. Tom turned to Mira. She was quiet, holding her necklace tightly. Her face showed no fear, only focus. He knelt beside her. Listen, Mira, I need you to stay behind this wall, okay? I don't move until I come back. She shook her head. No. I stay with you. Tom paused. It hurt to see her afraid, but he had no choice. You're brave, Mira. But if something happens to me, you must protect what your mother left behind. It's that cure, that message. It's in you. She stared into his eyes, then nodded slowly. Bren opened a hidden panel and helped Myra into the small space behind the wall. We'll keep her safe, he said to Tom. No matter what. Tom turned toward the main entrance. His pulse was steady, his weapon ready. The time had come. Outside, the enemy ship docked with a heavy clang. A group of soldiers stepped out, moving in a tight line. At the front stood the same pale man from Teleresivin. His name was Varl, a commander for a secret group known only as Directive Black. Varl looked around the dark corridor and gave a short command. Find the child. No damage to the station. No mistakes. The soldiers moved forward, but Tom was already waiting. He stepped from the shadows and fired the first shot. A stun blast hit the lead soldier, dropping him. The others took cover and fired back. Energy pulses flashed across the hallway. Bren joined in, throwing a smoke charge to block the view. Back to the control room. Tom shouted. They ran, covering each other. The doors slammed shut behind them as Tom activated the lockdown. Varl's voice came over the station's speakers. You're only delaying the end, Reeve. The child is not yours. She belongs to us. Now Tom clenched his teeth. You'll never touch her. Inside the control room, Mira listened to the battle sounds. Her fingers touched the necklace again. Lights around her blinked faster. She didn't understand every word, but she knew. Something deep inside, she was connected to this place, to the crystals on Teleresivin, to her mother's work, and to her father's heartbeat. Steady but growing louder. Suddenly, the lights around her turned blue. A soft humming filled the air. The control systems of the station responded to her presence. Mira stepped out of the wall space and walked toward the center of the room. Her small hands moved across the controls like she had done it before. Behind her, Tom turned in shock. "Mira, what are you doing?" She didn't answer. She closed her eyes. Then it began. The sky vault shook gently. A new signal pulsed from the core. Light spread from the center outward, touching every wall, wire, and panel. One by one, the enemy soldiers froze. Their weapons dimmed. Their bodies slowed. Even Varl stopped moving for a moment. "What is this?" Mira's voice came through the speaker system. Soft, but clear. "Stop." Varl frowned. "Who's speaking?" "Me," Mira said. "No more fighting." Then, something even stranger happened. All soldiers dropped their weapons not because they were ordered to, but because they felt calm. Fear melted away. Anger disappeared. Their minds quieted. The sky vault had changed. Inside the control room, Tom and Bren stared in amazement. Mira stood in the center of the glowing floor, surrounded by soft blue light. Her eyes were closed, her hands lifted slightly. "She's doing this," Bren whispered. "How?" "She's connecting to them," Tom said. "Not with wires." "With her mind." Mira opened her eyes. "They don't want to hurt anymore. Not really. They just didn't understand." The door opened. Varl stepped in, slowly, without his weapon. He looked tired, confused. "What? ... What are you?" Tom stepped forward. "She's my daughter." Varl stared at her. "She calmed my thoughts. Hey, I couldn't even think about fighting." "She didn't force you," Tom said. "But she helped you see peace." Varl looked at Mira. Again, this is what they were afraid of. Mira spoke softly. "I don't want fear. I want to help." For the first time, Varl dropped to one knee. He wasn't bowing. He was tired, changed. Something inside him had shifted. "I see now," he said. "We were wrong." Later, the soldiers were allowed to return to their ship. No one was harmed. They had experienced something powerful, something they couldn't explain. They no longer wanted to capture the girl. They didn't want to fight. The sky vault had become a place of peace. Tom stood on the observation deck with Myra in his arms. Bren leaned against the wall, smiling. "You really think this is over?" Bren asked. Tom looked out at the stars. "No, but we've made a start." Mira rested her head on Tom's shoulder. "Papa," they listened. "Yes," he said. "Because you showed them a better way." She smiled softly. "Mama said I would." Tom kissed the top of her head. She was right. Far away on a government council ship, a report was sent. Subject Mira located. No further action advised. Recommendation: allow peace talks. The leaders read the file in silence. Human and alien, connected by one child, and the universe began to shift. 2 weeks had passed since the sky vault lit up like a star in deep space. Ships that came near felt something strange, like a calm wave touching their minds. People stopped arguing. Some even changed their missions after visiting the station. Had once been a forgotten research station was now becoming a place of peace. And at the center of it all was Mira. Tom stood beside the observation window, watching small ships arrive in orbit. Some were human, some were alien. Not warships, only transport vessels and science crafts. Leaders and thinkers had come not to fight, but to listen. Bren walked up beside him, sipping from a metal cup. "Never thought I'd see the day humans and aliens held talks in the same room." Tom nodded. "I didn't either. You'd think it'll last?" Tom looked toward Mira, who was sitting in the center of the control room, speaking with a group of scientists from both sides. She used soft words and calm expressions. She spoke like someone far older than her age. "I think it will," Tom said, "because they're not listening to each other. They're listening to her." In the last 2 weeks, the truth about Mira had spread quietly. She wasn't only a child. She was proof of something greater, future, where humans and aliens could not only survive, but grow together. Myra's DNA carried special energy patterns that could heal diseases affecting both species. But her real gift was something harder to measure. She could calm fear, open hearts, help others see the world without hate. She didn't do it with power. She did it with peace. Later that day, Tom sat with her in the quiet garden room of the station. Green plants had been brought in from Earth, in alien worlds. Bright blue vines climbed the walls. Myra touched a flower gently. "It's like Mama's lab," she said. Tom smiled. "Yes, it is." She turned to him. "Papa, what will happen now?" Tom thought for a moment. "People will argue. Some won't believe. Some will be afraid, but others will listen. Just like Varl did." He was angry before, she said. "But then he changed." "Yes," Tom said. "Because you helped him see a better way." She looked up at him. "Will we go back to Earth?" Tom paused. He had asked himself the same question many times. "I don't know," he said honestly. "Earth is complicated. Some people might welcome you. Others might not." Mira nodded slowly. "Let him stay here with the stars." Tom held her close. "Wherever you are, that's where I'll be." A message arrived that night from Central Command. It was simple. Sky Vault now recognized as a neutral zone for peace development. Mira Reeve is under full protection. No further action will be taken. Bren read the message out loud and leaned back. "Oh, you did it, Tom. You protected her." Tom shook his head. "No, she changed everything." The next day, a new group arrived, a team of young students, both human and alien. They came to study peace, learn about Mira, and understand the power of connection. Mira led the group herself. She taught them how to listen, how to speak gently, how to see with the heart, not just the eyes. She showed them her mother's crystal, maps, her father's mission files, and the secret garden deep inside the vault. Each child left different than they came. One evening, as the stars glowed above and the vault's energy fields shimmered like waves, Myra stood with Tom at the edge. "Of the platform? Do you miss Mama?" she asked. Tom looked up at the sky every day. "Me too." "She would be proud of you," Tom said softly. "She gave you strength and heart, and you gave that to the world." Mira looked out at the stars. "Will the stars stay peaceful?" Tom smiled. "I don't know, but as long as you're here, they'll have hope." Somewhere far away, on a planet still full of fear, a small screen flickered. An old commander watched a video of Myru, her soft voice playing across the screen. "Peace is not weakness," she said. "It is strength made gentle. It is love that chooses to listen." The commander turned off the screen and sat in silence. Then he ordered his men to lower their weapons. On Argonine, where it all began, Commander Hall walked into the control room and saw the sky vault glowing like a second sun in the dark sky. He whispered to himself, "Maybe we were wrong all along." Back on the vault, Tom tucked Mira into her bed. She held his hand. "Papa?" "Yes? Are we a family?" Tom smiled.
Yes.
"We always were. We just didn't know it." She closed her eyes, a soft smile on her face. Tom sat by her side for a while, watching her sleep. Not just a child, not just a miracle, but his daughter, and somewhere, maybe in another part of the galaxy, the spirit of Rena watched from the stars peaceful, knowing that what she had started was now changing the future. Her daughter had not just survived, she had saved them all. The end.